The air in the corporate ballroom was thick with the clink of champagne glasses and the hum of self-congratulatory chatter. The annual company gala at Pinnacle Analytics, a prestigious data firm in downtown Chicago, was in full swing. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over executives in tailored suits and glittering gowns, their laughter mingling with the soft jazz drifting from a live band. Marcus Williams, a 34-year-old senior analyst, stood near the bar, nursing a ginger ale. His sharp navy suit was impeccable, but he kept to the edges of the room, observing rather than participating in the corporate pageantry. Marcus, a single father to his 8-year-old daughter, Maya, had worked at Pinnacle for 5 years, earning a reputation for meticulous reports and quiet professionalism. His colleagues respected him, but he'd long noticed the subtle undercurrents of prejudice from certain higher-ups, particularly Victoria Reynolds, the company's chief operating officer. Tonight, though, his focus wasn't on office politics. It was on getting home to Maya, who was staying with his sister, Tasha, for the evening. As the party wound down, Marcus noticed Victoria at a corner table, her usually polished demeanor unraveling. Her auburn hair was slightly disheveled, her glass of Pinot Grigio trembling in her hand. She'd had too much to drink, her laughter loud and unsteady. When she stumbled toward the restroom, Marcus sighed. He'd seen this before, executives letting loose at company events, only to regret it later. Out of a sense of duty, he followed at a distance, ensuring she was safe in the marble-tiled bathroom. He found her slumped against the wall, mascara-streaked tears on her face. "Ms. Reynolds, are you okay?" he asked, keeping his tone neutral. She waved him off, slurring. "Just leave me alone, Marcus. I'm fine." "You're not fine," he said firmly. "Let me get you home safely." He'd driven colleagues home before, always with care, always with witnesses. As a black man navigating corporate America, Marcus knew the importance of protecting himself. He pulled out his phone, discreetly starting a voice memo as he helped her to her feet. "I'm taking you home, Ms. Reynolds. Do you have your address?" She mumbled it, and Marcus guided her to his car, a modest but well-maintained sedan. He texted Tasha to let her know he'd be late, then drove Victoria to her upscale condo in Lincoln Park. The doorman, a middle-aged man named Carlos, helped him get her to her apartment. Marcus left her on her couch, fully clothed, with a glass of water and a note. "Ms. Reynolds, I drove you home safely. You were intoxicated. Please call if you need anything. Marcus." He recorded the interaction on his phone's camera, noting the time and Carlos's presence, then left. The next morning, Marcus arrived at Pinnacle's sleek 30th floor office, his desk organized with military precision, a habit from his 4 years in the Army. He was reviewing a data set when Victoria stormed in, her tailored cream blazer and cold blue eyes a stark contrast to her disarray the previous night. She clutched her phone, her manicured nails tapping the screen with purpose. "Did you really think I wouldn't find out?" Her voice sliced through the quiet office, drawing curious glances from nearby cubicles. She held up her phone, displaying a photo of herself lying in bed, her blouse slightly unbuttoned, looking vulnerable. "A man like you in my house, taking advantage of me when I was drunk." Marcus remained seated, his dark eyes steady. He'd anticipated this. Victoria had always treated him with a veneer of civility but her microaggressions, condescending remarks about his impressive rise from humble beginnings, extra scrutiny of his work, dismissive glances in meetings, hadn't gone unnoticed. He documented them all, a habit born from years in foster care after losing his mother at 12, honed by military discipline and a master's degree in information systems. "Ms. Reynolds," he said calmly, "you were extremely intoxicated last night. I drove you home to ensure your safety, as any decent person would. The doorman was there. I left you on your couch and didn't enter your bedroom." Victoria's lips curled into a dismissive smirk. How convenient. The noble employee helping his drunk boss. We all know what men like you do when you think no one's watching. The insinuation stung, but Marcus kept his composure. He'd faced this kind of veiled racism before. Social workers assuming he'd fail, officers questioning his leadership, professors surprised by his academic success. "There's a misunderstanding here," he said, his voice low but firm. "I acted with respect. No misunderstanding." Victoria snapped, leaning forward, her perfume sharp and expensive. "You invaded my privacy, embarrassed me, and now you'll pay for it. I'm considering reporting this as sexual harassment. It's your word against mine, Marcus. Who do you think they'll believe?" The silence was suffocating. Marcus studied her, noting the calculated gleam in her eyes. She was savoring this, her power, her control. But she didn't know he'd recorded every moment of the previous night, from her drunken tears to her safe delivery home. Nor did she know about the years he'd spent documenting her subtle biases, her unfair treatment of minority employees, her whispered comments in boardrooms. "What if I told you I have proof nothing inappropriate happened?" Marcus asked softly. Victoria laughed, a sharp, condescending sound. "Proof? What could a man in your position have against someone like me?" Marcus smiled, a quiet, knowing smile that held years of patience and strategy. He thought of Maya, waiting at home with her gap-toothed grin, asking him to read her favorite book before bed. He thought of the injustices he'd faced, the ones Maya would face if he didn't act. Victoria had underestimated him, and that was her fatal mistake. That be why Monday, Victoria's version of events had spread like wildfire. Marcus arrived at the office to find colleagues avoiding his gaze, their whispers trailing him like shadows. At 9:15, Jennifer from HR appeared at his cubicle, her expression tight. "Marcus, we need to talk. There's been a formal complaint." In the HR conference room, Victoria sat flanked by two company lawyers, her posture regal, her smile predatory. A glass wall offered a view of Lake Michigan, its waves glinting under the morning sun, a stark contrast to the tension inside. Jennifer slid a photo across the table, the same one Victoria had shown Marcus, her in bed, disheveled. "Ms. Reynolds alleges inappropriate behavior when you drove her home," Jennifer said, avoiding Marcus's eyes. Marcus studied the photo. "Interesting. Who took this picture?" "I did," Victoria said quickly, "when I woke up and realized what had happened." Marcus nodded, noting her lie. The timestamp on his recording showed he'd left her apartment at 11:47 p.m. The photo's metadata, which he'd already checked, placed it at 3:12 a.m. So, "You took a selfie hours after I left, in your bedroom, where I never set foot." Victoria's eyes flickered, but she recovered. "You put me in a vulnerable position, Marcus. A man alone with a defenseless woman. Jennifer shifted uncomfortably. Mr. Williams, this is serious. We're considering suspension without pay pending investigation. Understand, Marcus said, his voice steady. And I suppose Ms. Reynolds's word carries more weight than mine. Victoria leaned forward, her voice dripping with condescension. Marcus, you're a good employee, but men in your situation, single father from your background, working here at our Goodwill, sometimes blur boundaries when around successful women. It's understandable. The room fell silent. Jennifer stared at her hands. The lawyers exchanged glances, and Marcus felt a familiar rage simmer beneath his calm exterior. He'd heard this before. Social workers calling him lucky to avoid jail, officers implying he wasn't officer material, professors marveling at his surprising intellect. But he thought of Maya, her voice that morning. Daddy, you always say good people win. Are you okay? He'd promised her he was, and he meant to keep that promise. Ms. Reynolds, Marcus said, you mentioned Sarah Chun, your former assistant, at the party. You said she played the race card when she was fired. Victoria Estefanez. That's irrelevant. Is it? Because Sarah's suing the company for racial discrimination. She has recordings of your conversations. Victoria's face paled, but she scoffed. Sarah's a disgruntled employee. No one will believe her. Marcus's smile returned, sharp and deliberate. Maybe, just like no one might believe a black man against a respected white executive. Funny how credibility works. The irony hung in the air. Victoria's eyes narrowed, but Marcus stood, excusing himself. As he left, he heard her whispering furiously with the lawyers. She had no idea his phone had recorded their entire exchange, capturing her admissions of bias and her orchestrated accusation that Marcus's life had taught him to anticipate betrayal. After losing his mother at 12, he navigated foster care, where he learned to document every interaction with social workers who assumed the worst. In the Army, he'd honed strategy, earning commendations for his precision under pressure. His master's degree in information systems gave him tools to navigate corporate systems. And as a single father, he perfected the art of protecting himself and Maya from a world quick to judge. By Tuesday, Marcus was suspended without pay. By Wednesday, Victoria had circulated a memo about monitoring problematic employees. By Thursday, he was barred from the office. But Marcus wasn't idle. At home, in his modest South Side apartment, he sat at his kitchen table, Maya coloring nearby, and opened his laptop. His files were a fortress of evidence. Spreadsheets tracking discriminatory performance reviews, emails with veiled racist remarks, audio from executive meetings where Victoria disparaged diversity hires. His first call was to Amanda Rodriguez, a racial discrimination attorney known for dismantling powerful executives. Over coffee in her cluttered downtown office, Marcus presented his evidence. Amanda, a sharp-eyed woman with a reputation for tenacity, whistled as she scrolled through his files. This is extraordinary. How long did this take? 2.5 years, Marcus said. I noticed the patterns early. Lower reviews for Black and Latino employees, promotions denied, extra scrutiny. I started documenting. Amanda paused at a 23-minute audio of Victoria discussing how to manage diversity without lowering standards. How did you get this? Marcus shrugged. 5 years in IT before I became an analyst. You learn how systems work and how to stay informed when you're excluded from a room. Amanda grinned. You're a strategist, Marcus. And this could bring her down. While Victoria lunched at an upscale restaurant, toasting her victory with another executive, Marcus was on a video call with Department of Justice representatives. His evidence, recordings, emails, performance data aligned with their investigation into discriminatory practices at major firms. Pinnacle was already under scrutiny, and Marcus's files were the missing piece. 8T home. Maya's question lingered. Dad, why do some people think they're better because of their skin? He'd answered carefully, explaining that some people mistake privilege for superiority, but the truth always surfaces with evidence and integrity. Her trust fueled him. On Friday, Amanda called with news. The DOJ is moving fast. Your evidence could turn this into a federal case. And that recording of Victoria admitting she set you up? It's not just discrimination, it's conspiracy to harm based on race. Marcus glanced at Maya, practicing fractions at the kitchen table. There's one more thing, he said, uploading the HR meeting audio where Victoria's biases were laid bare. Amanda's voice was electric. This is a slam dunk. She's done. Monday morning, Victoria sipped her latte in her corner office, preparing for a board meeting. She was mid-sentence when Jennifer burst in, her face pale. Victoria, the FBI is here. They're investigating systematic discrimination. Victoria laughed nervously. That's absurd. Who's behind this? Jennifer hesitated. Marcus Williams. He provided evidence, recordings, emails, altered HR data. It's extensive. Before Victoria could respond, 2 federal agents entered, followed by CEO Richard Davidson, his face ashen. Special Agent Carter laid a tablet on the desk, playing Victoria's voice. The problem with people like him is they don't understand boundaries. A single black man against a respected white woman. Credibility matters. Victoria's hand shook. That's out of context. Carter slid a stack of transcripts across the table. These are your communications, legally obtained, including proof you took that photo hours after Mr. Williams left your home, corroborated by your building security footage. Davidson stood, his voice trembling. Victoria, you've jeopardized our contracts, our reputation. You're fired. We'll cooperate fully with the investigation. As the agents escorted her out, Victoria's world crumbled. Marcus, at home helping Maya with a science project, received Amanda's call. It's over. Victoria's out, and the DOJ is building a case. You did it. Marcus smiled, not out of vengeance, but justice. He protected Maya's future and exposed a system that thrived on prejudice. As he hugged his daughter, he knew the truth had prevailed, not with anger, but with patience, evidence, and an unshakable commitment to doing what was right.